A lot of students worry that they will have no ideas to answer the questions in the IELTS speaking test. So why does this happen and what can you do about it? My name is Lara Ryan. I've been an IELTS examiner. I've been an IELTS teacher at the British Council. I have over a decade of experience helping IELTS students, and I'm the founder of Complete Test Success. Before we continue, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Now, the first reason that people cannot think of any ideas to answer their questions is that they start talking before they think. So when the examiner asks them a question, they feel like they have to start speaking straight away, and they get about halfway through the sentence, they realize that they have no idea how they're going to answer the question. That makes them stressed, puts them under more pressure than they need to be under, and they can't think of anything. The solution to this is just compose yourself, take 2 or 3 seconds to think about what your answer is, and then start speaking. The next problem is that some candidates, they try to invent situations. So they might be imagining, what is the world like in the country where they want to live? Or what's the situation with everybody in their country, rather than the small group of people who they actually know. So instead of thinking globally about this, what you want to do is just think about the people that you know. What's the situation with your friends, their families, your family, your colleagues, your schoolmates, or whoever you're aware of and whoever you spend time with. So what's the situation with the people that you know, not the people that you're imagining? And remember that this is a language test, not a knowledge test. So if your answers aren't exactly 100% accurate or factual, that doesn't really matter. So let's say the question is, do people eat out more nowadays than they did in the past? So you don't have to be 100% right. Just from your experience, do your family members eat out a lot? Do your friends eat out a lot? What was your experience when you were younger? Did you notice anything yourself? And even if the case is that you don't know if it's more or less, you can say that. You can just say, well, as far as I'm aware, it's about the same as when I was younger, and then just give some more detail about what the situation was then and what the situation is now. So the point is that you don't have to always have a big, elaborate, perfect answer. You can just talk about what you know from your own experience and the people around you. And then the situation might be that you actually have no knowledge of the topic. Now, this is actually quite rare, but let's say, for example, you've never had a job before and the question is about the dynamic between colleagues in the workplace. Well, of course, you have no knowledge, so what should you do? Well, the first option really is to explain that you've never had a job and explain why that means you cannot answer the question. Or what you might do is say, I don't have a job, so I don't know for sure, but from listening to my family members discuss this type of thing, it seems that the situation is, and then you continue with the answer like that. So even if you don't have, your own personal experience of the situation, you should still be able to explain why you cannot answer it or what you have heard other people say about this thing. Don't forget to come to my free live feedback lessons every week. The link to sign up for those is in the video description. Another common reason why students cannot think of any ideas is because they're really stressed. I mean, sitting inside in the IELTS test is definitely a stressful experience. So if that's what's happening to you, just take a deep breath, give yourself a second to compose yourself. You might even ask the examiner to repeat the question so that you can focus and then just continue as normal. And then the final problem is that you don't actually have the vocabulary to communicate your ideas. So this happens quite often, but students feel, I don't have the ideas, whereas really the situation is you don't have the vocabulary. So to test this out, try to answer the question in your own language. And if you can do it in your own language, well, that means it's a vocabulary problem. So if this happens to you once or twice, then you know that there are some topics that are difficult for you and you can just focus on those topics. However, if this happens to you a lot, what that means is that your language ability is actually too low and you just need to focus on improving your general English rather than focusing on IELTS. Okay, so in the comments, what I'd like you to do is let me know, have you experienced any of these situations? And also, are there any other reasons that you have for not being able to think of any ideas?